Welcome to Thinking Out Loud at CU Boulder. Today, we're diving into a question a lot of us are still trying to wrap our heads around. What if artificial intelligence isn't something you choose to use, but something that you already live inside? I'm Zoe.
And I'm Hallie.
I'm Georgia.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Ella.
In this video, we will argue that the use of AI at CU Boulder, despite being widely discouraged by professors and the university, has become structurally embedded in our everyday lives as students, due to its casual presence throughout our day-to-day lives, activities, and interactions. The constant use of AI tools like Grammarly, ChatGPT, Outlook, Zoom, and even Google's changes the structural affordances at CU Boulder, allowing students and professors to reframe the rhetoric surrounding what AI is/can be used for. This topic matters for a variety of reasons. For one, all members of our group have experienced AI penalization, professors' use of AI, and its casual integration into our lives. Second, according to Ben Williamson, in collaboration with University of Colorado Boulder's Alex Molnar and Faith Boninger, AI has become infrastructurally embedded in the functions of higher education, not something that students are actively choosing to adopt. Now, we're going to move on to our first segment.
Our first argument is AI is embedded in our everyday lives without us even knowing or considering it as AI. We cannot escape the use of AI. AI has become so embedded in everyday life that we often don't even recognize it, or nearly every company now relies on some form of AI. From retail chatbots that handle customer questions to automated phone systems that guide support calls, quote, AI business usage is also accelerating. 78% of organizations reported using AI in 2024, up to 55% the year before. Meanwhile, a growing body of researchers confirms that AI boosts productivity and in most cases helps narrow skill gaps across the workforce. This was according to Stanford AHI, and narrow AI tools are integrating seamlessly into routine tasks, shaping how we shop, communicate, and decisions without us labeling these tools as AI. Scholars also notice that AI's presence in schools reshaping learning environments with younger generations depending on AI for quick answers, which can hinder the development of deeper critical thinking skills. This was from Springer article on Youth and AI Integration. I relate to this because when I had an essay in class for college, I put the rubric into chat and it broke down the instructions for me, and it as a way it could help plan out my thoughts in a way for me to write an essay with the instructions given more simple and less complex, to where I could gather my thoughts and just understand the directions and gather the key points in my essay. Also, AI-driven content on social media is increasingly convincing older adults and people in general, because I believe some of the images are also AI and they're not, which is making it harder to distinguish real news from AI-generated misinformation, but it's also there and we can't escape it. It's only going to get more tech-savvy in the future. Across the workforce, AI is replacing human labor in the name of efficiency, prioritizing speed, automation, and over quality. Part of trend research expect the acceleration as AI systems continue to spread into more sectors of our lives. So collectively, these shifts show how deeply AI has been woven into society, influencing all of our daily lives, generational experiences, and structures of work without people realizing it. So one example from this, or I have a couple examples, is when I drive home from work and there's a bunch of traffic and AI is in Google Maps, but it predicts the traffic, so it gives you a totally different route without even realizing because I just put it into my phone and don't even realize that that's what is behind it. Or when I also shop online and the chatbot comes up and asks what I'm looking for, like types in sizes that it can give me. Also, which is a new thing that has come up, is when I'm shopping, it has you put in like a picture of yourself if you want, or you could see it on the model or on yourself, and like you can see if like how the colors look on you or how just overall you would like the item. And so many people find online shopping so like such a hassle, and then you have to return it and do all that annoying stuff that no one likes to deal with. But everyone loves to online shop, and this I think is something that's gonna obviously get like more progressive in the future to where you won't even have to go out to buy something. But I think it's cool that already today that you can just show a picture of yourself and it will show what you look like having it on you. So that's something that AI does for me that I don't even realize or think about. It's just like when I'm online shopping, I just do. So yeah, so if anyone has anything else to say about how AI is influenced in their life.
That's a great example, Georgia. I've actually never heard of those fashion AI examples, and I'm excited to see them, like in the
Yes,
near
you should
future.
totally
But
try it. It's awesome.
yes. Wait, what platforms like were they on, or like have you seen them on?
So on TikTok, when you go to the shop, those come up like so many times. Or also, I shopped on Princess Polly last week and got a new outfit, and it like showed what it would look like on
So
me.
neat.
And I was like, what the heck is this? And it was so cool to see it. And I got it and I ended up liking it in person a lot.
No, it's cool seeing like various industries are embracing AI. But I kind of have an example of how it's integrated in my life. For me, I've noticed AI in like the really small everyday things. Like as a student, I'm constantly sending emails, last minute emails, and I'm trying to sound like polite or professional, even if I'm stressed and I have like a million other things to do. Um, and even if we say that school doesn't use AI, it's kind of everywhere anyway. Like when I start typing an email in Outlook or even in iMessage, it's already suggesting like what I should say, like hope you're doing well or looking forward to hearing from you. So even when I'm trying to speak, like using my own voice, AI is kind of nudging in the conversation. It's subtle, but it's always there. And I think this shows how we're not choosing AI, it's kind of infiltrating our life. But Zoe, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when people talk about AI, like especially in school and stuff, I feel like they think that only ChatGPT can be considered AI because that's the most like daunting or like scary of the AIs in college. But like I use Spotify probably every single day. I watch Netflix with my roommates all the time. I used to watch a lot of YouTube when I was younger too. And all of that is all of their like recommendations are forms of machine learning that basically take user data, they pair it with algorithms in order to offer up suggestions to users. I also remember last year kind of bringing it back to like a CU or like university context, I had to take all of my exams for my business minor on online, but it was on Proctorio. And I never really understood like what Proctorio was and how they were able to keep track of like 250 students to see if they were cheating just based off of like watching their eye movements or to see if they like switched tabs. I then found out that it was using AI, and that's why I was able to do it so successfully, which I kind of found surprising, seeing as the professor was extremely against AI usage, and they mentioned how the University of Colorado Boulder doesn't condone it. So I kind of found it a little bit hypocritical that the professor was able to use it to make their life easier, but they were kind of saying that students would get penalized if they used it in their everyday lives. Does that make anybody else think of any examples?
Yeah, I have a few, and I just think there's so many examples out there, and we obviously can't cover them all, but a few that I were thinking of kind of extended beyond the classroom in education, and kind of going off like the eye tracking that Proctorio uses. My mom's car, when you like take your eyes off the center of the lane, it'll flash and say, keep your eyes on the road. And when I'm driving, I'm like, oh, sorry, like car, my eyes are back on the road, and I don't really think about it. But in reality, that's like a form of AI telling me to do something, and I'm not even really realizing it. And I think another example is the weather app and these weather stations on the TV. Every day before class or before I do anything, I check the weather to see what I should wear, see what kind of day it's going to be. And the weather app and the TV stations are using AI that I don't even know about. My mom, for some reason, she's like obsessed with the weather, and she subscribes to this one guy's weather like channel model thing, and he uses this AI model to provide accurate updates and kind of predict the weather. And it's so much more accurate than like the traditional weather channels. So I think a lot like the apps on other websites are starting to use these AI models, but it's just something I would never really think about. Like, oh, okay, the weather, it's going to be sunny, but how do they know they use AI? So it's like something they're doing that I wouldn't even know AI is being used. So yeah, I just think there's so many examples. Does anybody else have one that they'd like to share?
Yeah, I was gonna say going back to like social media platforms like Instagram and TikTok feeds, like all those algorithms decide what posts or videos you see and to keep scrolling, stay on their app, and they're all powered by AI models like trained on your engagement with the app. And I also wanted to go towards like sports betting when a ton of people are always sports betting using multiple apps like PointsBet and stuff like that. And it always comes with there's a 70 something percent chance that a team's going to win and they actually win. Lots of people bet on that. And that's just another way that AI is integrated within our lives and we don't even really realize it. And it makes it unavoidable even when we're just trying to simply use one app.
Yeah, definitely. Now we're gonna move on to our next segment.
Awesome. So, our second segment is going to be talking about AI, the usage of AI in higher education. So, although not all professors do, higher education normalizes AI, and some even use rhetoric to frame it as essential or unavoidable. We believe that this language has a significant impact on how students see AI. If professors approach AI as something that everyone must use, it becomes less of a choice and more of an expectation that students use it. Universities are now offering new courses that educate students on how to use AI in writing, research, data analysis, and much more. And even right here at CU, CU Boulder recently added an entire AI graduate certificate to the school. So according to CU's website, quote, the graduate certificate in artificial intelligence AI provides students a strong foundation in key AI topics. Students apply machine learning algorithms to real-world data sets, examine ethical issues in the design and implementation of current and future corrupting systems and technologies, create an appreciation for the tight interplay between mechanism, sensor, and control in the design of robotic and intelligent systems, and study vital topics in generative AI reinforcement learning, natural language processing, and autonomous systems. So obviously this is a huge certificate that CU is offering, and it goes way into depth, learning all about the different facets of AI. Additionally, on the website, it says, quote, the MSCS on Coursera program is proud to offer the graduate certificate in artificial intelligence. So CU Boulder is proud to offer courses on AI. The use of the word proud shows how universities like CU portray AI in a positive and almost crucial light. This rhetoric implies that AI is not just important, but should be welcomed and appreciated in higher education. This discourse may give students the impression that using or studying AI is becoming more and more essential in becoming educated and pursuing a professional career. So when one professor is saying, "Oh, AI is not allowed in my class, it's bad, it's a form of cheating," but then another professor or the institution itself, CU, is saying, "We are proud to offer a course on AI. We are proud of AI. AI should be something that you should be looking into." I feel like the line gets really blurred on whether students should use it or not, or feel this pressure to use it. And personally, that has happened to me here at CU Boulder. So, in the spring of 2025, last year, I took an intro to coding class here at CU, and right off the bat, the first lecture, AI became a talking point. And in the past, my professors have portrayed AI as negative, as this negative tool used to cheat. But this professor, he was different. He was in favor of AI. The language he used to talk about AI framed it as this amazing tool with endless possibilities that was just so special and so amazing that we had to use. And throughout the class, we were told to use AI on our assignments. And this was something that I'd never been told to do before. And it almost felt wrong to use AI on my assignments because my whole career in school, I've been told no AI, no AI, no AI, it's bad. So throughout the class, we were taught how to use AI as a tool. We used AI to see its flaws and its strengths. We used AI to critique our own coding projects. So in class, there were required assignments that made us use AI. We were forced to use AI. And these requirements and the rhetoric the professor used surrounding AI made me and many other students feel like AI was unavoidable and that we had to use it to complete tasks and, finish out the class. So we just think the kind of multiple standards and opinions on AI throughout CU is confusing and it can lead the students the wrong way and it needs to be more consistent. So going off of that, does anybody else have any other examples?
So I had a professor last year, who used AI to like grade our material, and she like flat out told us that that's what she used. So she didn't feel like that it was unfair for us to use it. So she was kind of just very much open-minded about the platform and just didn't really care as long as we still like contributed in class and shared our opinions and like all of that stuff. And then I also had an internship over this summer in New York City, and it was like a marketing internship, and she fully just didn't like she just fully like told me to use AI to like brainstorm ideas and just to use it. She didn't find it as anything as like a threat to like education or like your mind or anything. She just fully was like it's a tool that's out there given to us. And she just thought that it was like obviously it's out there, anyone can use it. It's a public platform. She didn't see any problem with it, and I think that we're talking about like higher education and like jobs to where I think that it's not going anywhere, and I think that anyone can use it. It doesn't have to be in such a negative mindset. I think that like in the future it's going to get more progressive, and I think that we should all like learn how to use it and know that it's not going anywhere and that it's out there, and like so many jobs use it, businesses use it, everyone uses it, to where I think that it's wrong to take it as such a negative thing and as like a cheating mindset, because I don't see that at all. I mean it can be to like some people, and that's anyone's opinion, but I just think that it's something that is out there, it's given to us, jobs use it, and I feel like if everyone goes to college, I think, to like go get like a higher job and education, whatever, and I think that it's wrong to like penalize people for it. If it's given to us, it's out there, and like the jobs out there are also using it. Like, I don't know. I think that it's just out there if anyone has anything else to say or add on to that.
Yeah, going off of that and just Nick's example of how professors have encouraged the use of AI, I can think of this one example I have of a photography class I took last semester. And what I found so interesting was that while like most professors in academic spaces are discouraging AI, this professor actually encouraged it and uplifted it as a part of the creative process. So we used it for brainstorming, mood boards, editing ideas, and even our artist statements. And like Nick said earlier, at first it almost felt wrong to use because we've just been told so many times that AI is considered cheating. But in that class and in Nick's class, for example, it was framed as something that could be used to expand creativity, not replace it. And it really showed me how the attitude towards AI changes depending on who's teaching and what the goal is. And that can definitely be confusing and frustrating as a student, balancing those curves in learning. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I completely agree with you, Ella. It's hard because AI is constantly growing every day. And when it comes to professors, they're technically thinking they're not using it every day or in their lectures. However, when you go to a lecture, there's always a PowerPoint or Google Slides, and those design ideas that are or layout suggestions create like a fluid lecture that students are able to follow. And you see the AI features that generate the clean professional slides automatically. And them not knowing or knowing that they are using AI is hypocritical in a way when they tell you in the syllabus not to use AI, or if you do, then you will be penalized. And I think that just doesn't really scholarly help when it comes to higher education.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna be that they think that it's like a disadvantage to our education, but when we get to like the workforce and like everything that happens there, that is gonna be something that in articles that we read, like the Stanford article, that like so many businesses use it then, and that if we can't use it in college or learn how to use it the right way, then I think that would be beneficial. And I think that if it's like cheating or like you'll be penalized from it, then that's just something that is not thinking about like our future in a sense.
Yeah, kind of like connecting what we were talking about with like our first argument about it being in our like everyday lives, and like what we were saying about like PowerPoint and stuff like that. I think it's really easy to like make a villain out of ChatGPT because that's the one that like professors think is like the most dangerous, and it's the one that's like infiltrating. But this idea of like them not using any AI just isn't true because it is like structurally embedded in our education. We're all required to have an Outlook email. We're all required to use Canvas for grades. Sometimes you're required to use like Proctorio, like I was for my business program. And sometimes you have to use programs like Zoom. And all of those formattings, like they use some form of machine learning, even if it doesn't seem like it. So whether that's to fill in the sentence or send like a quick email on Outlook, or if it's on Canvas to do quick grading when you take online quizzes, or to make like a class average for a test, or even like right now on Zoom, like it has AI features. So deeming it as like something we're not allowed to use, even though it's structurally embedded in our education, just doesn't work. Like there's no way for us to fully avoid AI when it's in things that we're required to use to learn.
For sure. Yeah, I agree.
Now we're going to move on to our third argument slash segment.
Even with a desire not to partake in AI, many naysayers are still participating in the AI system unconsciously. Whether we recognize it or not, AI is silently embedded into the tools and technology that organize our everyday life. Like we've spoken about, for example, Siri, Maps, and all sorts of media platforms all depend on AI to function. But a lot of individuals who publicly or silently don't like or criticize AI use it every single day without even knowing it. For instance, Virginia Tech's 2023 research says that AI use is in every single day. For instance, Virginia Tech's 2023 research says that AI is included into many digital platforms or systems that are meant to improve efficiency and communication. This means that it is almost difficult to completely avoid AI. In college, this contradiction becomes increasingly apparent. Williamson says that students typically have to utilize institutional systems like Canvas and Outlook, like we've spoken about. These are all AI algorithms that students and professors count on every day. These platforms and algorithms speed up work, find plagiarism, and provide feedback. So, even when students or professors want to stay away from AI, they use it in almost all academic systems. This unintentional involvement shows how deeply AI is embedded in both personal and professional settings. It also suggests that people who don't want to use AI aren't really avoiding it. They are just trying to avoid realizing how much it truly affects them. To put it in another way, the way our digital world is set up means that AI is not something we can just choose to use or not. AI is already a part of everything that shapes how we learn or how we live our lives, learn, work, and talk to one another. One example that AI has been in everyone's life, in my perspective, is even when I attempt to stay away from it, I still see it every day. For instance, I previously made a point about not using ChatGPT and other AI tools, since I didn't want to depend on them for my schoolwork. However, I soon found out that it's practically too hard to stay away from AI completely. I still use Grammarly for my essays to check for errors, Outlook for emails, and to plan my meetings with academic advisors, and Google Docs for projects with groups or alone. All of these programs employ AI-driven algorithms to propose changes, organize information, and even guess what I would write next. Canvas is something every college student is required to use for their assignments. No one necessarily knows this is mostly AI. When you turn in your assignments, it goes through turnitin.com, which is a system that catches AI. So even though me and everyone else thinks they are staying away from AI, I was really using it in many parts of my life academically. CU does not promote AI, however, thinking in a way that it can be used properly and in the right hands can create a functioning college town that sees the positive. Personally, AI affects how I work in school without even knowing it. Does anyone have anything to add?
I actually do, if nobody else has anything else to add.
I do after you.
Go ahead, Georgia.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about when you go to the rec center and you use your Buff One, like you tap it, and just like the access systems uses AI support as like a security software to like verify your data and track like the occupancy of the rec center, which is something that like we all do and use.
Wait, that's cool. I didn't know that about the rec, but I actually have an example. Last semester, one of my professors said my work was triggering a ChatGPT detector, even though I hadn't used AI. I'd been using Grammarly to edit my papers like I do for all of my classes, and the whole situation was just really frustrating. In a previous conversation, Zoe mentioned there's irony here. Since I was just using basic tools like Grammarly, yet my professor, who on the syllabus said didn't allow AI, was using it themselves. This shows how blurry the line can be between acceptable digital assistants and what counts as AI, highlighting just how complicated technology's role in learning can be. I like the example Zoe just phrased it as we kind of use ChatGPT like we villainize it because it's easy to. And I think this was an instance here where it was villainized. But if anybody has anything else they'd like to add, please go ahead.
Yeah, like kind of going off of what you were talking about was like the ChatGPT, or not the ChatGPT, the like Grammarly like spiking like AI on AI detector websites. I always personally find it a little bit ironic when professors say that they're using things like Turnitin.com or ZeroGPT to check if students are using AI tools when those plagiarism checkers are AI themselves. I think it's funny that some educators are allowed to demonize and penalize people for using AI, but then at the same time, they use it themselves to make their lives easier. And they don't teach us to use it in a way that will enrich us. They rather make us like be scared of it and think that it is changing who we are and going to make us not be critical thinkers. Even though there's ways to have balance between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm honestly like fully scared to use it in some classes because we'll get a 0 if we use it, and that like really impacts your grades. And I think that there's a way that all of us can like work together and learn how to use it as like an educational platform and like ways to like brainstorm and like work with the platform than fully just using it as something that you're like scared of or can't use and will be like fully punished for. Like fail a class that is like so much money and it is so expensive and something that like we really value. I think that there's a way to like just talk about it in a way that no one will be like fully threatened by.
And yeah, kind of just adding on, I just think the whole like conversation is just so interesting and kind of like ironic. I feel like it's either AI is good or AI is bad, or the individual is pro AI or like they're against AI. And I feel like the rhetoric, I don't know, I feel like it should kind of shift. Like, when we had the guest lecturer come into class, the other week, I thought a lot of the stuff she was saying was so powerful. Like, it was really interesting to learn about all these negatives of AI and how, while it's impossible to not use it, she was trying to minimize her usage. And I just think the whole lecture was, super impactful and super positive, but at the same time, it was a Zoom call and like it's not her fault, it's no one's fault, but that's just like we have to use AI to do Zoom. And I don't know, I just thought it was a little ironic. While even though the presentation was powerful and I really enjoyed everything she had to say, I just found it a little ironic that she was using a form of AI without even knowing it or with knowing it. It's just impossible to kind of not use.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that goes back to like our first argument is like so many people use AI without even realizing or like do it in their everyday lives without even realizing, and maybe like she even didn't even realize. I don't know. I just feel like it's something that it's just gonna happen, and it's a very huge platform. Like even if you Google something, like we kind of talked about, it just is always gonna come up. It's always gonna be there. Even like, I mean, I feel like all of us use Snapchat, and it's like who knows like how many people use it, and you have like your AI on that, and the fact that they're like tailoring it to even like these like younger generations, like stuff that we use. And then it's on Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's on like everything, and like all of us use that, I'm sure. And I just feel like for us specifically that there's nothing you can do to not use that.
All right, if nobody has anything else to add, we'll be moving on to our final segment today. At CU Boulder, AI is not just technology that students choose to employ. Rather, it's ingrained in our everyday lives, like we've mentioned many times tonight. Even if the majority of academics condemn it, AI is being incorporated into our lives both personally and institutionally. Whether we realize it or not, artificial intelligence is continuously being introduced to us. Like we mentioned, the majority of apps on your phone have embraced and incorporated AI into their systems. For instance, the For You page with TikTok and the Explore page on Instagram are both examples of algorithmic-driven data. AI has also permeated the digital world in a variety of ways, including chatting and emailing, like I mentioned in my examples, with the auto input or auto reply. Some academics are beginning to recognize that AI is becoming unavoidable. Although most collegiate settings initially reject AI, there is no growing recognition that, like any new technology, it'll inevitably become a part of our daily life. Some academics even stress that AI should be viewed as a tool rather than something to be afraid of, urging students to learn how to use it sensibly, like Nick and I's examples. This strategy aims to normalize AI in a way that feels useful and useful rather than covert or embarrassing, assisting students to form a more positive and knowledgeable relationship with the technology. It is difficult to stop the general acceptance of new technology, even when people try to avoid it. Many of us rely on AI without even realizing it, like we've mentioned, through tools like Grammarly with predictive text and Outlook email sorting systems, or even the way our social media feeds are maintained. Quote, AI is increasingly embedded in our everyday life, end quote, the Stanford Human-Centered Artificial Intelligence Report states. AI is often operating in the background in ways that people are rarely aware of, demonstrating how deeply embedded it has become in our life. Acknowledging AI's omnipresent existence motivates us to change the discourse from avoidance to comprehension. The more critical question here is how we might use AI in our academic and personal lives in a responsible and conscientious manner, rather than whether we should use it at all. Students and teachers may make decisions that improve learning, creativity, and productivity by becoming AI literate and learning how to use its capabilities. In this sense, AI is a tool that we can intelligently and morally include in the future of education rather than just an outside force to oppose.
In this video essay, we didn't aim to necessarily convince anyone that AI should be good or bad. We just wanted to share our opinions as University of Colorado Boulder students on how AI has truly become fully integrated in our lives. We're not saying that we think everyone should be using ChatGPT and they shouldn't be writing their own essays and thinking for themselves. We rather think that people should understand that AI goes beyond just what ChatGPT is, and it's becoming so deeply embedded in our lives that if we don't start progressing with it, we're going to get left behind.
Yeah, and I think that like so many students view AI as like a helpful academic tool that saves times because so many of us are taking so many classes and so much like stuff to finish and have so much homework and like essays, and it like clarifies assignments, reduces stress when responsibly, and also it's just like unavoidable that we don't even realize like it's built into Canvas, rooted in Gmail, like Canvas apps, and making like it just completely unavoidable is just, I think, really unrealistic. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of just adding on one final note. I feel like all throughout college, kind of before this class and before this project, all I've heard was that AI like is taking over, and I haven't really like learned too much about like what it actually is doing and what it's actually in. And I think just after kind of taking this class and doing this project, I've learned a lot more about where AI is, what it's doing. I've become more aware of like the rhetoric surrounding AI, realizing that everybody's going to have a different opinion. There's positives and negatives. So if anybody watching is gonna have one final takeaway, I hope it would to just become more aware that there's no right or wrong, but pretty much everything you do, AI is gonna be there. So just be aware of that. And yeah.
The challenge for us as students and educators is to stop pretending AI is optional and start deciding what kind of AI powered campus we want to build. Maybe that starts with awareness, realizing that every time we open an app or send an email, we're in conversation with an algorithm. And the more conscious that conversation becomes, the more power we have to shape it. All right, this has been AI at CU, the invisible system we can't escape, written and produced by Zoe Turner,
Hallie Walters.
Georgia Wilmot.
Nick Waldeck.
And Ella Turgeon.
1,